You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
The wheel is turning and you can't slow down. You can't let go and you can't hold on. You can't...
Hello and welcome back into my Wheelhouse. It is March 12th. We just heard the announcement for March Madness bracket, and the NBA season is 5 weeks away from its end, so we got plenty of stuff to talk about. Usual suspects of Mike and Sloan are back on the panel and back for, I don't know, fifth or sixth time. Who knows what it is. Logan's back. Logan's back in here.
Go Who's! Welcome back low.
Nobody knows Who's. Yeah, nobody knew.
You talking about Owls?
Yeah.
Go Who's!
No one knows who the Who's are. Your mascot is the Cavaliers.
That's part of the problem. It's like you guys are missing out on so much. Like,
I'm missing out on weird
nicknames.
nicknames.
Nirvana. The Who's of basketball Nirvana, and you guys don't grab it. It's like it's right there for you. It's everything that's
it's like
so
basketball nail on chalkboard.
It's awesome.
We were trying to guess before we started filming what is on top of Uncle Mike's head.
And I said it's kind of like, where when you're watching and you're into things like that and you always sit in the same seat and you eat the same food. I have no idea what it is,
So you're not taking this
but
off.
I wear it all the time. It hasn't been off since the ACC tournament.
So until they lose,
not coming off.
until they lose,
at least I don't have to wear a ponytail on these days no more.
So until they lose in the Sweet 16, you're not going to take it off.
Sweet 16, that's when it's not coming off.
Logan thought it was a pillowcase. I think maybe it looks a lot like the sleepwear from A Christmas Carol.
It's like if you forget to have it on and the game's happening and you don't,
All right, let's get into it. Sloan, you can keep that on. You got to win with the medal.
I am on a roll.
So Sloan has 6, I got 8, Mike has 10. Logan's never won one,
5
but
weeks
he hasn't done that many. We got 5 weeks left. The last week is like half a week.
Logan's going to be in it this time.
Well, he's in this
maybe
week.
You can grab a medal and keep you from,
each one is essential. We got
Are
5
we
left.
going to do a separate one for the bracket, or are we just
probably.
doing?
Probably we'll do a second thing for the bracket.
Whoever gets the most or something.
Half of the wheel is dedicated to a different region on the March Madness bracket, and half the thing is dedicated to the NBA. So I don't got anything. Let's spin for it.
I'm just glad we're going to talk some college.
It's the time to do it.
Maybe I should say go UVA, and people would understand that more.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, nobody. So
start with the
get a debate going.
A brief update on tanking. There's several teams, including a team that falls under the other realm of one of the other categories in streaking. The Memphis Grizzlies have lost 17 straight games. Including several games where they've rested a healthy Marc Gasol.
Hold on, stop.
What am I
They
stopping?
go 0-16 with Gasol in the lineup. They don't play him, and you're going to say they're losing because Gasol's not in?
No, that can't help. No, I'm saying
they lost 16 games in a row with them playing.
Yeah, but then I'm saying to add insult to injury.
That's what some people are saying tanking is.
No, but I'm saying that they're actively trying to enhance their ability to tank. They're doing the best job.
Don't have to. They lose 16 games in a row with Gasol.
They're starting G League.
If they win without him, and you're going to say, they better put him in the lineup so they start losing?
No, they're starting G League pull-ups. It's very obvious. Okay,
it's not obvious.
Kent Bazemore is held out for the...
When they said him, say 8 games ago or something, they lost 16 games in a row with Marc Gasol in the lineup.
That's perfectly fine. He can sit out the rest of the way. Yes, they're doing...
But it's tanking as soon as he sits.
No, it's been taking the whole time. It's been taking the whole time. They're giving minutes to laughable players. Their roster is made up of G League players and call-ups. They're sitting their healthier players, and even if Gasol didn't sit until his last game, he's not putting full effort in.
You should be beyond this. Everybody on this panel should be beyond this.
Okay.
That's only got to do with the perception of the rank and file fan.
That's not true.
They can't. If they see something, Silver has to step in and put like a squash.
Oh yeah, wait. He has to warn a team. He has to warn a team.
Not for you. He has to warn a team because the regular person out there watching, they can't even talk tank. If you say it, it's bad for the NBA. That's why he has it. It's not because it's actual tanking.
So what does Silver have to do? Does he have to warn a team not to tank, like he warned the Chicago Bulls to play their healthy players when they weren't playing healthy players in away games?
So you play Brook has 10 minutes. Does that count?
Yes, it does.
What's he going to say? 14 minutes? Or should he play 15 minutes? Or should he play 20 minutes?
They have to play in away games.
Or is it all right for Chicago to say that this guy is not in our plans, and we're looking to go in another direction, and we're going to look to play other players? If they sat Dunn, or if they sat on Markkanen, or if they sat Levine,
have sat those
they're
guys.
playing good players.
They have sat those guys. They've sat incrementally, and there's other teams on the bottom, including the Atlanta Hawks, who just called Kent Bazemore out for the rest of the season because he has a bruised knee. It's an injury that he's dealt with throughout the season that regularly is only missing 2 or 3 games.
I get those in volleyball every week.
You're talking like the exact guys
and he plays through it.
Silver is going to calm down, because it's ridiculous. Until I see a team missing free throws on purpose,
No,
or
you're-
a coach telling guys not to score when they can score, that's tanking. What's going on now is not tanking.
Your systematic understanding of the concept of tanking is completely
Probably.
incorrect.
You're equating tanking to rigging.
Yes,
And
that's
I think
not what it is.
I think you can tank,
How could a
subconscious.
player tank?
Players don't tank.
Tell me how players
No,
don't
Players
tank.
don't
we're
tank.
saying that
Players
the
don't tank.
organizations
Tell
are.
me how a coach can tank.
Playing minutes by players that are worse than the players that they can
no,
play.
they-
That's
no, a
exactly
coach
what
would
happened.
You don't
never
think
do
they
that.
have a better opportunity
So
to win
who's
if you
doing it?
play Marc Gasol for 20 to 30 minutes, which they haven't done in the past 25 games?
Okay, I'll try to calm down a little bit here.
And
It's all
look,
organization.
I
That's
can't
what it is.
name
I
all
know it's
5 of
only
their
3-1
starters.
against them, but
They scored 13 points in the
let me
first
paint this
quarter of their
picture for
last
you.
game.
It's Boston versus Indiana.
Okay.
Who would you rather play? The Cleveland Cavaliers or Indiana in the second round? I'd rather play
are you talking
Indiana than the Cavs. I mean, that's just a general perception.
Right.
So they play. Al Horford's home. He's got a headache. Well, Jaylen Brown, he's injured, but it's not really a concussion. Oh, Kyrie, his knee's hurting him. Why doesn't anybody say they would rather have Indiana win because Indiana will move ahead of Cleveland and Cleveland becomes a 4th pick and then? Well, I'm not saying this is happening, but that's the same.
You might be
thought.
right
But
there.
I don't
same
understand.
thought
Do you
process.
not think that that's happening either? Because that happens too. Both of these things happen. It's an organizational structure that front office management
that's
chooses
exactly
to
what it
make
is.
decisions.
It's the way the league is set up. It's the way the league flows.
It's
Just
obvious.
Ignore it. It means nothing.
The teams are incentivized to
means
lose.
nothing.
They have the best chance of improving their chances
So
to improve over the long term by losing. It's obvious. Obviously, the players aren't going over there and missing free throws. As you say, that's rigging.
Okay, listen. Chicago, everybody but Phoenix and Memphis. If you look at them, they win 30% of their games. That's what they won. They got 300%.
Yes.
They're winning 30% of the games right now. They're 3 out of the last 10. They're still winning 30% of the games. Why is that tanking?
Because
They'd have to lose. How many games? They got 15 games left. Is it tanking if they win none? Is it tanking if they win 3? They're only winning 3 out of 10 anyways. It's not tanking if they win 2 out of 10 instead of 3.
a lot of the games recently have been played against a double tank matchup where it's another
A
team
double
that's
tank matchup. This is just far beyond me.
It's actually like
It's not all right for
Surprised you're so
Chicago.
fired up about
I'm
this.
sorry that you're oblivious to
this
something
is
that's
a
obviously
thing.
happening.
I don't
This
agree.
is a thing.
I don't agree.
It's because you equate it to players losing on purpose, and that's not what tanking is. Tanking is management understanding that the league is incentivized for them to be able to make.
Okay then. Tanking's fine.
Right
There's
now it
nothing
is.
wrong with tanking.
Right, exactly. You should tank.
It's okay to tank. It's
Yes.
part of the game.
You
The only
should.
thing that's wrong is tanking is the perception of the average fan
Yeah.
that the game is rigged.
Right.
That's it.
Right,
That's
so
it.
then why
Silver
are-
has to come down. So why do we even talk about tanking being a problem? It's not a problem.
I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying it's happening, and you're telling me it's not happening.
But why do we even talk about it? Why do we talk about it? I don't think.
Because it's intriguing. Because there's 10 teams in the league that are awful and are actively managerial-wise trying to lose games so they can get the best pick.
So
That's
Chicago's won
intriguing. What do you
17
mean?
losses in a row.
Chicago's
You
won
almost
3
have
out
to
of its
try
last 10
to lose
games.
17
What's
games in a
tanking
row.
about that?
They're resting their players that are the better players and they're playing
But they're
minutes.
still playing the same 300 ball they played when they weren't tanking.
They're actively trying to lose games
And
from
they're
the
not
head of
losing
front
any
office.
more games than they were.
I don't think you're going to get it.
17 losses in a row is not 300%. That's
And
not,
also-
it's
No, I
not
said
30%.
except for Memphis but Memphis is clearly the worst team in the league. Hey, I figured out who the best player is for Memphis.
Uh-oh.
It's Bagley. Imagine it's
Already?
Oh God! I mean, to finish last, get the ping pong balls. If Conley's okay, Conley and Gasol and Bagley, that team,
Dylan
that
Brooks.
really
Dylan Brooks
works.
is
I'd
coming
love to see that.
He's getting a little bit better.
If you think about Memphis, that's pretty interesting. If they
Conley's
enter
okay.
next year with full health with the squad they have now, and
they have
Bagley,
Bagley.
Ayton, or a Doncic, that's an interesting team.
I think Doncic goes to the. I like the Knicks and Doncic. That's all.
He's not going to drop that low.
Probably
You got a
not.
final thought on
Probably
tanking
not.
before we spin it?
I don't have much on tanking, but I mean the Celtics aren't tanking. There's
I
no
didn't
tanking,
say
or
that.
there's no
I
nothing
said,
similar to
could the
Celtics tanking.
perception possibly be that they're tanking?
No, but
Even Kyle Draper said they might
and I'm
not
saying-
even want the number 1 seed. The way it's shaking out
Would it
right
be
now, they might
okay
want to
for
stay
them
at 2.
to manipulate things in some way so that Indiana finishes third? Yes or no?
I wouldn't be surprised if we come down and there's 2 games left in the season and we have a matchup where if we win or if we lose a game, that's going to change the standing of the remaining of the playoff schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if we rested players.
Well, we probably just rest players, and their
Rested
excuse is
players
going to be
so that
just
could
rest.
happen.
We have so many injuries right now, it's going to be hard for the Celtics
Yeah,
to
we can't rest players. We have to call up players.
A funny note on tanking in the fantasy league in our dynasty league, tanking is coming into play.
Tanking is active.
In the dynasty league.
Tanking is active.
Is it real
Because
tanking?
people are trying to get the pick next year
Yes.
by tanking.
Yes.
So their teams are bad.
Okay, we're going to-
So it's like real
What is it?
tanking.
You know Sam, he was on episode 1. He has Giannis, Embiid, and Ben Simmons on his team, and he actively benches them. And he's in last place, so he's gonna.
He's trying to get the first
Trying to
pick.
get the first pick.
When you say that, well, my concept of tanking, I kind of see that is different.
It's similar. It's similar to real world.
What is it?
We gotta move
If you're
on.
trying to lose games in any way, does it matter whether you're trying to miss a free throw or you're trying to set things up so you lose? It's really the same thing. It's dishonest.
So the Boston Celtics have been playing okay when they have healthy players. We have hit a big injury bug. Obviously, we're aware of Gordon Hayward's injury, but since the last time we were on air, we have Jaylen Brown suffering a very unusual concussion from a lucky fall when considering on how dramatic it looked at the time,
Tough to watch.
where he tried to hang onto the rim,
Can
awkwardly
you actually
landed
get
on
a
his
concussion
shoulder.
when you don't hit your head?
He hit his head and his shoulder at the same time.
He landed on his upper back.
Yeah, it was very awkward, and it made me
It was
nervous
bad,
when he
bad
fell.
fall.
But we were lucky that it was just concussion protocol in terms of a
Who
diagnosis.
puts a player in concussion? Is it the team that decides to put him in
I think it's
protocol?
team
doctors,
doctors.
yeah.
Team doctors, and
So they could have said no, he doesn't go into protocol.
but I think that the league
But
has the
because
ability
they
to
were
overrule.
playing
The
in
league has.
Indiana, they
In
didn't
this
want to
day
take
and
the chance
age,
that he
he's
played.
going
It's
in
automatic.
concussion
Yeah,
protocol.
it's automatic.
Indiana because they want Indiana to finish third.
Stop
So the team doctor
He's
would
kind
put him
of
into
like
the concussion protocol.
he's now like the
so that
poster
they-
boy of the NBA's concussion protocol. We all know about the NFL concussion protocol. This is the first time I've ever actually heard of somebody being placed in the NBA.
Well,
Al
Al
Horford was
Horford
just
deals
in
with
the
a
shoe.
lot.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Al Horford
true.
was just
But I mean, it wasn't like as widely talked about because
Right.
it wasn't like
So
this
Jalen-
was a crazy.
Jalen will
play.
probably miss a game. He'll be back to the next game.
He's already missed a game.
I think
they
he'll
said
miss,
all of this week.
he'll miss one more. Al Horford was rested because of some type of illness.
Some type of illness.
Do we know what it was? Do we know what it
No,
was?
they said he had a fever.
Right, illness.
It
Some
could
type
have
of
been
illness. Fever.
98.7.
Maybe it was tankitis.
Yeah.
go.
Marcus Smart, we just got news a couple hours ago that he has a tear in his thumb. He's
Thumbs
gonna
down.
He's going to be out
Is
indefinitely.
it a shooting thumb? He's going to be out indefinitely.
Yeah, it's his right.
Definitely.
It's his
Yeah.
right. He
It-
landed on his right.
So it was the third quarter of the game last night where he poked out a loose ball and dove for it. He played like the rest of the
Yeah.
game. It was like
when he
with the
dove
game-
along the sideline.
sideline, yeah, and tried to poke it out. He didn't end up with a ball, but it was. I think it
That
was
was a great defensive bit.
Oh yeah.
He was amazing last
He's
night.
play, he's
Oh,
been
I mean, he went 3 for
He's,
5.
he's the
And,
Dennis Rodman of this era.
since he came back from punching the frame, he's got a whole different mindset. He really does. I really think he's turned the corner on that, and he realizes that his value and what he does, and he's played tremendous. But now
He's
been
playing
running
for money right
indefinitely.
now. So.
Yeah, he's out indefinitely. Hopefully, it's not that long. He's getting a second opinion on his thumb, so he could be back earlier. The injuries continue. We also got news today that Daniel Tice will be out for the rest of the season.
Rest of the season?
Rest of the season.
Well, this is much worse than I thought.
Meniscus. He's got a torn meniscus.
Sucks.
Better news. Kyrie's knee soreness looks like it's not going to be that severe.
Yeah,
and he's
but-
gonna
It's
play
funny how
later.
he's become the most durable player.
Yes. So,
Tank.
but I could see us
Second
resting
half,
him in
Indiana
certain
was too
things.
close. That
but
first half was too close. You had to play it. You
Right.
had to keep Kyrie out.
taking it too far.
I
Larkin,
know I am. Everybody. Well, my message is everybody's taking it too far on that.
But it's okay. And Larkin is also hurt. So we have basically half of our roster isn't healthy. We're bubble wrapping the remainder of our healthy players.
Yeah.
So we lost a tough game without any of our players.
Whoa. I
Gotta call the Red Claws up.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe we're
losing
just-
Smart, I think, is really, really decisive on what's going on with that team.
He's been integral.
Well, even the depth at center. I mean, if you got Horford and Tice out, that just puts a lot of pressure on everybody else with rebounding. It's just
Yeah, and Monroe's going to have to play more minutes than he probably should. Morris is going to have to play up front.
Baines is going to be fouling out of games. Morris is going to be putting up 20 shots a game.
I just
this
think
could
the
get ugly.
Celtics kind of needed that first seed, I think, because it just would. They're a young team, and it would really help Tatum and Brown's confidence. And I think that's a huge thing, just for them becoming more stars. I think they need that confidence factor.
I think they've established themselves, and I really think why wouldn't you want to have somebody knock Cleveland out? Well, I mean, I know I'm painting this in a weird way, but why wouldn't you want Cleveland to finish fourth and have to play Toronto
Second
first?
round?
Yeah,
Well,
that would be ideal. And then you don't play Toronto, and then you play Toronto in the finals, and you dodge Cleveland.
I mean, as of right now, Indiana is in the 3 spot. Cleveland's in the 4. If you project it forward, a lot of analytical projection systems have Philly finishing 3rd and Cleveland not even finishing in the top 4. I think they have Cleveland finishing 5th. It could be interesting. Cleveland's looked very choppy lately. But I really don't think
Choppy.
I don't think it really matters.
Remember
LeBron's
when I
gonna
told
set
you
turn
Philly
on.
was going to get
Exactly.
third or fourth? You said,
Boy,
no
they're,
way.
They're tight. With Kyrie, have any of you guys noticed that his game has changed a little bit in the last 4 or 5 games?
In terms of what?
He doesn't get it all the way to the hole no more. He doesn't penetrate the same way, and he doesn't finish at the rim with the same rate that he did before. So, he's missing something. I mean, he's amazing in there, and his spins and flips are, but he's almost 100% on those. He hardly ever misses them. And he doesn't get all the way to the rim like he did before. And what Stevens was saying is that they're trying to design a team for rest with him and get him in a position where he's playing off the ball more, and that's not what he would be doing. But I'm tracing it back to his knee a little bit, because I was seeing it before this happened yesterday, and that's why I see Smart as a key player. Smart had some interesting quotes. Smart said, well, we put our best player off the ball, and then we have our best playmaker and best passer, him.
Right.
And they said that's quite a combination. When you've got your best playmaker and best passer with the ball, and your best scorer off it, Smart really thinks a lot of himself. And I think
he might have the highest basketball IQ on the
I've been on him all
Celtics.
the time. My
He's-
brother Dan
he's
tried to tell
smart.
me he's not a point guard. I think he is a really gifted point guard, Marcus Smart, and that he makes great decisions.
He almost plays like an assistant coach out there. Like
He's
he's
really
great at
become more
calling
and more of an
plays,
extension of
directing
Stevens.
traffic.
But he's gone now, and that's
Well, we don't know how long. We don't know how severe. Maybe the second opinion says you can wear a brace
Yeah.
and you can play in 2 games. We don't know. It could.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
It's just tough to hear indefinite
That's
right
as
before
many
we start
injuries
filming.
I've never heard in like a 24 or 48 hour period. That is absolutely
So,
incredible.
we're gonna have to
That's
depend
wiping out
on-
half your roster.
Right, we're going to have to depend on some call-ups. Nader's going to play some unfortunate minutes. Hopefully, Terry can return to the production he was earlier in the season when Kyrie was out, because that'll definitely be needed. Our schedule moving forward isn't super difficult. This week, we have games against Washington, we have games against the Pelicans, and we have games, one game
And it's
against
at New
another
Orleans, so
team.
that's a tough game.
So, but
That's
this,
2 losses.
But this stretch right here, the next 4 games or 5 games, looks like it's going to be much tougher than the last little leg of the season moving forward. So hopefully we can sustain enough health in these games where we can. I don't think we're at risk. I mean, we're pretty locked up at 2. At 2, so I think it's perfectly fine to sit out our guys who are struggling with injuries right now longer than maybe necessary, just to make sure that they're absolutely 100% for the playoffs. And just kind of hope we land the
Horford's
right
gonna
guy,
be
right
all right.
team at 7.
And
hope
you
it's
got to
not.
hope. I think Kyrie's really a key. You don't want anything to be wrong there.
Who do you want to play in the 7th
second
seed?
round?
No, in the first round. Do you want to play
Wow, that's a tough
Milwaukee, the Heat, or Philly?
I think anybody but Philly. Philly's definitely most dangerous with their stars. And I mean, we could lose to them, but I think we take anybody, no problem. I think we beat the 3 and 6 seed too, no problem.
Yeah. No.
I think the only team we're gonna have trouble with is the Caps.
Right.
I think we beat Toronto. We beat anybody. I think Philly is the 3rd best team. I'd say Philly's best.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot of parity, really, in that whole division. I mean, I think Toronto has distanced themselves, which is amazing. But we all feel they're going to come back down to the parity as soon as the playoffs start.
Yeah, they rely on their bench and their.
But
I mean, we watched the game.
6 guys in double figures.
It was
off the bench.
Van Fleet. I'm not scared of Van Fleet in the playoffs.
No, Van Fleet.
He was
know.
He was the best
I know.
player on Toronto when we watched him play when they beat the Rockets.
Yeah.
They beat the Rockets, huge game. Best player on the court in the 4th quarter is Van Fleet.
He's gotten really good. Their bench has gotten really good, and that's something that they never used to
Look
have.
how San Antonio's done it. Logan.
Their bench
They've
was
always had-
good
who
before.
thought-
They have a
you didn't think
young-
Patty
they have a
Mills was
young
that
bench.
Good. You really didn't think Patty Mills was that good when he first was starting to get into games. And Van Fleet's a pretty good player, and so is Miles, and so is Poeltl, and they're all no-name guys.
I don't
but
think Toronto's
they-
getting
they
enough
had
love this
6
year.
guys off the bench
getting-
that scored
okay.
between 8 and 13 points.
So
last game.
there's been an overcompensation of coverage on Toronto because in previous years no one pays attention to them.
That might work for them.
And because of that stigma, this year there's been a saturation of coverage
Yes,
on
I
Toronto
agree.
Raptors and how they're not getting enough love and everyone needs to pay attention to them. When in reality that isn't true. And we need to
see
be.
it in
We need
reverse
to,
of that shit. I think what it's doing is it's shining a light on them as being people that choke in the playoffs, and I think that could work
That's
in their
not
favor.
true.
I
It's
think
just
they're a
'cause most of the
championship
time,
team this
they
year.
don't- most of the time you're just talking to me about it, and that's my opinion. But in reality, if you listen to majority of the people on Yahoo, ESPN, major writers and stuff like that, they're all saying that this is a different team that has the ability to take it deep into the season, has the potential to make a finals run, can handle Cleveland. They defended the Rockets very well in that game.
Yeah.
They played a style that we saw San Antonio play in the series that they played in the playoffs last year, where they're really mudding up the three-point line on pick and roll, and they're sitting back with Valanciunas deep and letting them have whatever shot they want in the mid-range, which I think is the right way to defend them. But again, I'm not willing to depend on a young tertiary members of that team surrounding two unproven postseason players.
I'll take the Sixers against the Raptors. In the second round, if the Sixers get the 4 or 5 seeds, I take them. If
I think the
Cavs
Raptors are
play
making
in
the finals.
they're not going to get past the second round.
There's 15 games left in the regular season.
I'll put a
and you
buck on
have to
that.
say, Toronto.
If Cavs are two,
with 15
second round?
games left, Toronto is
Raptors
playing
are-
very well. So as you
They're playing great. They're playing great.
Well, as it's ticking down here with 10 games to go, if they're playing at this level, I think they're going to be trouble for Philadelphia and Milwaukee. I do.
I think they're out in the second round.
Yeah, I think in previous years
But
they
it's just
kinda-
like if
you
they
didn't know what they had. They played awful well.
if they play Milwaukee in the first round, they're going to go to 7 games.
Like, didn't they go to 7 games last
Maybe.
year against
I
them?
don't know.
Yeah, and Milwaukee outplayed them for the majority of
Milwaukee
that
should have
year.
beat them in Game
Yes,
6.
yes.
Weren't they up 3-2 in Game 6, and they should have won
Yes,
Game 6?
yes, that's
Milwaukee
They're
is not
better this year than
consistent
they were
though.
last
Not consistent at
Yes,
all.
but they have the best player in the series, and they have
Yeah, but that doesn't always
a
matter.
defensive identity that could handle Toronto when they crumble, which I think they will. It's
Yeah,
just
which
like
is another reason why the Toronto's going to have a lot of trouble, because they have to play a bunch of good teams. The Bucks are good. If they play the Bucks in the round 1, and then they play, and the round 2 they play the Sixers or the Cavs, and then round 3 they play the Celtics or the Cavs,
But every
they're not
team-
going to make it to the finals.
It looks like
I
they're going to be
think
the
they
1
are.
seed, and the Cavs are going to be the 4 and 5, and the Raptors are going to be out in the second round after playing 6 or 7 games in the first round. That's what I'm thinking right
Yeah,
now.
they're going to get spent.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of balance there, and to be hanging your hat on Philadelphia, who has not won a playoff game, and I know they've got the stars and stuff. I'm not saying Toronto's not going to beat them. I would be picking Toronto in that series with the home court advantage. I'd be picking them over everybody except for Cleveland and Boston.
I mean, I think that's reasonable. I just think that both Milwaukee and the Sixers have the firepower and the ability, if their star players perform, and we don't know what Embiid's going to do. Embiid could come in and average 32 and 18 in a playoff series. That's not unreasonable to say, even though it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
He could do that. And it's just something that I think I trust other teams' abilities to be able to perform at a high level when I haven't seen them not perform at a high level, when all I know of the Toronto Raptors is them not performing at a high level.
They don't show up. They don't
Agreed.
show up in the playoffs.
Agreed.
All right.
Embiid Antetokounmpo would be a fun playoff
Yes.
matchup. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get
think
that.
They
It's
won't
gonna
get high
happen.
enough, right?
I mean, maybe they could be a 3-6.
Yeah.
All right, down to the bracket. We're going to talk about the South region.
Get to
So
the madness.
that is one of the most exciting regions. That's Virginia's region. You're Virginia.
Whoa!
You know,
You're really hoping this.
go Who's, right?
Go Who's.
You know, it's like
I think they got the toughest road.
they do.
They're the best team, and they got the toughest road.
Really, I mean, they get a top seed, yet they've got to play very soon either Kentucky or Arizona. You look at it, whatever the teams have got. Look at the 4-5s in every other division compared to Kentucky and Arizona. That's really, I mean, at least they have to play each other in a little, but that's a lot for the best seed to face early.
So usually, what happens when the committee chooses the seeding and what teams to match up where, they give the number 1 overall. They give them the weakest 2 and the 3, and they did a good
Which
job
is what
with
happened,
that.
which is what
they did a
happened.
good job with that.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Duke. I'm not huge on Purdue, but Michigan State. And Michigan, other hot teams, Texas Tech, all stayed away from Virginia. And I think they made out luckily with Tennessee. And Cincinnati is gritty and could be a team that could make a run. I don't think they're going to be that great. But you're right, this 4-5 is really tricky because it's way stronger than any other 4-5. We're looking at other teams like Ohio State and Gonzaga. Imagine if they got one of those, you'd be like, oh my God, this
Cakewalk,
guy's
yeah.
going a cakewalk. They're going to be in the Elite Eight, no problem.
Auburn and Clemson.
I mean,
Exactly.
before they even get there, I think that they're going to play a really gritty game against Creighton. Creighton's a game that might beat them down. They're not going to lose to Creighton, I don't think, but that's a team that could wear them down a little bit to when they get to the next round where they're playing Kentucky or Arizona. I think they will struggle.
One thing to understand that you guys are getting a feel for me, I guess, is Virginia. Every game's a tough game for Virginia, and there's always they're always on edge. And as you're a fan, you're watching them all the time, thinking because they can be offensively challenged. But in this ACC tournament, what they're showing that's a real strength is every time a team threatened them, every time a team pushed momentum on, Louisville closed the 4 on, Clemson closed the 4 on, and the finals on North Carolina closed the 2 on them. Every single time, Virginia responded right away.
Very
and
composed,
boosted right
very
back
composed,
up.
very composed team.
Very poised, very composed. And I think yes, they're going to be tough games. I like some games in this region. I love Kentucky and Arizona. That would be beautiful, huh? And then to have either UVA or to play Virginia to play either Kentucky or Arizona.
I mean, I hate that
Those are-
Kentucky's playing in Arizona.
That's
This always happens
what a
when,
nice
the, when, the, when,
game, though.
the
I
tournament
like to
when the
see.
tournament's broken down. There's always pairings that I'm upset about because I want both of those teams to be able to go further. But other than those,
What a tough road for Kentucky too.
yeah, I don't think they're going to
They-
get.
Davidson, Arizona, Cincinnati, and Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to get.
That's a
by.
tough
they-
road.
They're out. They're
not gonna
losing.
make it.
They're losing to Arizona.
Good
Got a
Lord.
couple long shots in that division that I think are pretty strong. And,
how do you
one of them
feel
is
about
Nevada.
You like Nevada?
I love Nevada.
I think they're out. You don't think Mo Bamba's
Oh,
taking them
against Mo
down?
Bamba?
I don't think Obama's taking them down.
I think
Texas
Obama's
was
taking them
I
out.
think Texas was
Bombo Genesis.
I tuned in to watch that what's that, Big West? Or what are they in? Big 12 in Texas? And the first game,
keep
he
up
didn't
with
even
all the
play
conferences.
the first game of the tournament.
Yeah, I
I
didn't watch
turned in
that
to
one.
watch Mo Bamba. He didn't even play.
I didn't watch that game.
So after that, I didn't
Hopefully
really
he's
tune in
okay.
after that. But I mean, we're hoping that Mo Bamba has a big game. But look at their record and look at what they've done.
I mean, they put up big games against teams that are strong and teams that are reputable and got high
Nevada has
seeds.
got the Martin twins, who are really good, and then they played URI earlier, and they played one of URI's defeats. They've got Jordan Caroline, who's like a Fareed type player with a real high motor. He's about 6'8". He plays real strong. And then they've got maybe one of the best stories his name is Charles Cook, and either last year or the year before he was playing intramurals. And what he had a heart condition that was similar to Hank Gathers and Reggie Lewis. And he was told he would never play again. He's out of New Jersey, played at St. Anthony's for Bobby Hurley's father, was a top of the line player, went out west, was a full scholarship player, left that school and transferred, was told he would never play again. His mother stayed with it and kept bringing him to specialist after specialist until they cleared him. He is now the starting point guard for Nevada. Quite a story.
Wow.
And his intramural team won the championship, by the way. But and he said he had to play at half speed, and he felt his heartbeat going. He had to back off and stuff. But I think that's an amazing story. For his time. So I like that team a lot.
it's really
And I also
unfortunate that they're
I also
gonna
like
lose in the first round.
Tennessee. And I like Rick Barnes. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. He has been since Providence had him. That team is playing real well. He's one of the four
I
or
don't
five.
trust Tennessee.
He's one of the 4 or 5 coaches in NCAA history that have got 4 teams into the tournament. And he's a good enough coach. I like that matchup. I like the game, Nevada and Tennessee. I'll look forward to watching that game.
Texas, you mean? Tennessee will need to make it to the Sweet 16 to play
You got
Nevada.
Nevada
Oh,
beating
yeah.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You got Nevada playing Tennessee. in
Whatever,
Sweet 16?
Cincinnati's weak.
I think
That's what you had. You have Texas playing them. Why
I
not?
think it's kind of lame that
I don't have
Cincinnati,
Tennessee.
Well, what do you like?
Cincinnati got
I mean,
the
it's not
2 seed and
Miami,
Tennessee got the
it's,
3 seed. I think
Cincinnati,
that's
I don't
kind of
like.
lame because Arizona and Kentucky should be
easily be
in
better
the
than
Elite Eight with
stronger
Virginia.
Right.
You know, I think that kind of devalued this entire region because you're going to have Virginia playing like probably the second or third best teams earlier in the rounds.
I mean, it's tough. Their
no,
seeding, the
it's a
seeding
weird
makes
bracket.
sense
It's a
in
weird-
terms of
weird
Kentucky and
matchup.
Arizona getting the 5 and 4.
I mean,
They were
maybe
never
I'm not giving Cincinnati enough credit. I haven't seen them. but-
Cincinnati's good. It's a typical Cincinnati team that's gritty. They play hard defense. They're rough. They
But
get
don't
under
play
your
the
skin.
same schedule that the ACC plays.
Right. No,
and-
I don't trust them. I think that they're more likely than not to lose before the Sweet 16. A team that I think could make a deep run in this, and I have them going to the Elite 8, is Miami. I really like
I don't
both.
like Miami.
I like both of their prospects. I really like Lonnie Walker. I think he has NBA potential, NBA ceiling. I like how they play. They've had hot and cold games throughout the regular season, but they have big wins against some reputable teams, and I think they can make a run pretty deep. Do you have any teams that you're watching?
I think, not to hate on your Virginia, but I think Arizona's the easy pick out of this region. I just think DeAndre Ayton's just going to
Well,
eat
here's
up.
what-
He's
here's
just
what
going to
I
get
got,
big
Andre.
numbers.
In this year, I think having the best player
I
is
saw him
going
in
to really
his
matter.
conference
Right,
finals, and he was
I'm not
great.
seeing him as the best player anymore, and I think
who's
Bagley's
the
the best player. I mean, I wish he had a 30 and 15 in that tournament. There's only
see
been
Duke
5
against
30,
UNC?
5 30
Terrible.
and 15s in the history of Duke. There's been 5 30 and 15s, and Bagley's got 4 of them. Christian Laettner's got 1, and Bagley's got 4.
I love
That
Bagley.
guy is the best player in the country. You know what? I'll throw this out to you. Is Ayton Tyson Chandler?
No.
Why not?
Because he's
way
offensively talented.
better.
Because he's a
His
low post game.
footwork, his offensive
His
footwork.
footwork is, but they don't go to him.
He's stronger offensive, yeah, but that's more because of a scheme. I trust him more. I trust Raul Atkins as a two-straight
just
player.
strong.
If they had Trier, they would be like an obvious shoe.
Virginia matches up well with him. Jack Salt he's Aaron Baines. So if you haven't watched Virginia play, this guy is out of New Zealand.
I'm not scared of him against
I'm not
Ayton.
scared of him, but he matches up with Ayton.
I don't think he can.
Of course he does. He's been matching up with all these guys all season long. He's been matching up with North
He's
Carolina.
the
North
biggest,
Carolina's
best,
big-
strongest guy.
North
He's the
Carolina-
biggest one.
North Carolina's the top rebounding team in the country.
Okay, because that's a team
Duke
stat.
is
North
big.
Carolina has a fat white power forward as their star
power
power.
forward.
This guy is
They're rebound.
a machine.
How about Duke?
He's a machine.
How about Duke?
They got big guys.
Yeah, they got big guys.
Yeah.
And Salt plays real strong against them. Now, how about Florida State? They got big guys.
Nah.
Well, then I'm just saying that Salt is physical enough to match up against Ayton. He is. He's a very strong defender.
I think Ayton
And
eats
he's
him.
Aaron Baines.
I think
Ayton gets 20-10 every single game in the tournament.
yes, I agree with that.
20-10 locked.
I'm down.
It might not be a,
20 and 10 is
might
good in
not-
college.
might not be a lock against
gonna
this.
need-
guy.
Virginia's going to score 40 points. 20 and 10 is not bad.
30 and 15 to beat
Virginia's
He
never,
can do that. He can easily do
so
that.
all
That can
year,
happen.
Virginia hasn't given up more than how many points?
70. They have not given up 70 yet
Unbelievable.
this year.
I didn't know that until
No,
I
I
heard
mean,
that yesterday.
and
That's
that's
wild.
that's why you got to buy into this team. This team, they've got a culture there that is beyond anything you've seen in college basketball in a long, long time. Tony Bennett gets his
I
third
just wish they
national,
weren't playing Arizona.
third NCAA Coach of the Year award. He won his first one at Washington State. One of the great coaching jobs in the NCAA of all time. Washington State, you will never see in an NCAA tournament again. Tony Bennett coached them to the Sweet 16. That's how he got his playing card to get into Virginia, was when he took Washington State to the Sweet 16. But don't discount. Another thing I got a theme with this too. And Arizona, as much as the FBI probe and stuff, to me that's a stigma. I don't want to see the team that wins this whole thing become a Louisville and lose the trophy and have it taken away from them. There's about 5 teams in there. Auburn's one of them, and certainly Arizona's one of them that I'm just not going to buy into for that reason.
I think
I
that's
think they're
great.
pretty much exonerated.
I don't think anybody's been exonerated. Nobody's been convicted, but
I
nobody's
think
been
we'd hear a
exonerated.
lot more about it at this point if there
I'm not
was
hearing a
more
lot
out
more
there.
about it. You're hearing nothing about it.
No,
that's
that's
what
what I'm
he's saying.
saying. There would be more news.
You know why
we
there's no
would
more
hear
about
more.
it is because the tournament's taking place. Condoleezza Rice is in charge
So
of
it's a ratings
the
thing?
investigation. They're
Suppress it?
scheduled to come out with their findings the day after the tournament ends.
That's fine. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I am too. But I mean, that's why you're not going to hear anything at this point.
I mean, I think these kids should be getting paid
anyway.
anyway.
I think
so
I'm
just
roo-
show me
I-
the basketball.
I think I'm
I'm
rooting
looking
for.
for clean teams. I'm looking for clean teams.
I think
Virginia's
whatever.
a clean team.
I think I'm rooting for Arizona to win, and that would be awesome if they got it vacated. I think vacating championships is hilarious, and I think that's okay.
Hilarious.
Yeah, like those kids still don't
Well,
get
I
the power,
think
the
they should
fame.
vacate them
Like,
before, and they should be thrown out, and they should catch them early, and they shouldn't vacate the championship.
Aiton's definitely not getting
Virginia's
drafted
gonna,
if something
Virginia's
comes out
gonna
about this.
struggle with
Virginia's
Creighton,
going to struggle in every game,
and
but
they're
they
going
could
to
win every game.
lose. They're going to lose to
And
Arizona.
I'm going to love them win or lose.
We already did that.
Aaron Baines is a chump, by the way. He was laughing and smiling when Jaylen Brown went down.
Really?
What about what?
I don't know, but he was smiling.
He thought he was
Everybody
okay.
else is freaking out.
Maybe he thought he was okay.
We're not
East.
talking about that no more, but I would have a take on that because you know who else was? Tatum.
Wait, maybe he thought he was okay.
And I think
He was
what
smiling 'cause it was
you know
an
what I'm
awesome
thinking?
movie.
Yeah,
I
maybe
said-
he
I
was
said this
happy it was
about
a great
Jaylen
move and he
Brown
thought he was
He was
getting
down
up.
on the ground like this. Everybody else was
Jaylen
freaking out.
Brown
Al
turns-
Horford is sitting
he's
next
a drama
to him.
queen.
And Aaron
Jaylen,
Baines.
and he got hurt, but Jaylen Brown is a drama queen, and he is. He plays his role. And I like Jaylen Brown a lot, and I think his game. I hate to see him get hurt because his game is maxing out big time. But when I hear Aaron Baines was snickering, Tatum was snickering, I think they're looking at him saying he's not hurt.
I don't know.
Well, what else are they
I
doing?
never see Jaylen Brown flop. I never see him flop.
I don't think he's.
I don't think he's
flail
a
or
drama queen.
flail.
Why do they swing on the rim? That's so
I
dangerous
think
to swing.
right. So he's trying not
Logan's
to swing.
the
He's
only
trying.
one of us that would know
Oh,
about
that's right.
swinging
I'm
on
the only
rim.
dunker here. But I think he's trying to hold onto the rim so he swings forward and backwards. He's trying not
That's
to let go.
dangerous, and you see
It
so
is
many of them get
dangerous.
in that position.
But it's because
they
that
swing.
dunk was so insane that he
a
he
great
took
dunk.
off
He had a
from
lot of
so
momentum.
far
It
away.
It was
Right.
like DeRozan's
It brought
dunk
him.
from a couple days
Right,
ago.
it's the same exact thing.
Beautiful dunk.
Yeah,
It was
he
might have been
great.
worried about
You
hitting
see
his
him
head on the
finish.
backboard or
But one of my criticisms of Brown initially in the summer league was that if I was a coach, I would never foul him because he's never going to make the shot. He never finished in the summer league. He started to finish lots of them.
Sorry, it just made me think about it.
Yeah,
All right, so
Stuns
the
with Celtics.
Eastern region is
Coming to
Villanova's
Boston
bracket. Their 2, 3, 4, 5 is Purdue, Texas Tech, Wichita State and West Virginia. I think overall it's a pretty boring bracket. I think
Villanova, have fun.
Compared to the bracket.
Yes, this is so weak from this than what we just looked at.
This is a relatively easy cakewalk for Villanova. I think they make it to the Final Four with not too much struggle. I think West Virginia is probably the most reputable team in their region, and that will be the most difficult game for them in the Sweet 16. I like both Florida and Texas Tech. I mulled over which one of those teams would make it past Purdue because I think whoever wins that matchup will move on to the Elite Eight. There's not really any
exciting. I see a real good game for you there. I think St. Bonaventure and Florida is a real good game. You're going to love the pace of that game.
Yes,
I agree. Love how that
that's
game
going to be a good
flows.
game.
You're going to love the scoring, and that's going to be a fun game to watch. And a lot of people kind of on them, and I was last week talking about St. Bonaventure is dangerous. I know they lost to Davidson, but Davidson is dangerous too because Davidson's playing at a high level with very good coaching.
I mean, Davidson's playing Kentucky. They're going to lose.
I know, but what I'm saying, I don't hold it against St.
Why is the 11 the play-in game? Why isn't the 16 the play-in game?
So me and Mike were talking to this before. The majority of the time, there are exceptions, but the majority of the time, seeds 12 through 16 are all reserved for champions of the most baloney leagues. Of the
Ivy League's
Mountain
going to
West.
12
Exactly.
16, and
so
they pick the 11 to fit that team.
The 11 is the highest possible seed that isn't for a shoe-in team that gets a victory. So
that makes sense.
It makes sense. It looks weird, and that was for sure my first question as well when they started doing that a couple years back.
Thank you for clarifying.
But I mean, I think UCLA is going to be a tough out for Bonaventure. Maybe they get by. I think overall, whatever team gets out.
10 is not a strong.
I mean, St. Bonnie beat URI. They broke their streak.
Yeah.
And UCLA could score.
I think Butler's a good team to watch. A lot of teams are
6
kind
months
of on them. They're a decent team.
What seed are they?
They're low seed. I think this bracket's where you're getting your upsets. This is where you're gonna get like either 10 through 14. You're gonna get one of those guys that win multiple games in this bracket because it's weak. This bracket's weak.
Yeah,
I think I even picked.
Talked about
right. Well, I mean,
Virginia, Arizona.
A little Marshall. You did a little Marshall.
Yeah,
upset?
like I
Wichita State.
I like all those 10 through 14. I might pick all 10 through 14 to win all those games. Yeah,
they're not in that region. I mean, Arkansas has an NBA prospect center, Daniel Gafford. He's proven to be a pretty reputable star in the league, but I mean, that's a tough matchup for him against Purdue with Isaac Haas, pretty massive human being. It should be interesting. I mean, I really disappointed that Alabama got matched up with Villanova. I really wish that they got Kansas or Xavier because
Alabama get in?
Because they have one of the biggest star power.
Yeah. Does he have what because of Sexton?
Star power.
Yeah, but they
have big wins too, though.
They're deciding this, and they're actually sitting around the table saying we've got to include Trae Young, we've got to include Sexton, we've got to include Michael Porter.
I don't know. Look at the bracket. Do you not see
that? They're saying they actually do this, and that I mean that was a surprise to me that that's a factor.
So they go down the list. I mean, it's usually record.
Star power is obvious.
It has to be.
Trae Young,
money. It has to be money.
What I'm saying is that these athletic directors are sitting around the table making these decisions.
Money.
They should be above the star power.
No, but I'm telling you that they
should be based
on that in, but
body of work.
After they factor in the record away from home, the strength of schedule.
Yeah, that's not like the biggest
top play against
factor is if they have a star.
I think they're wrong.
But it's just something they look down the line.
If it comes down to Alabama versus a USC, which is a team that didn't make it out,
right.
And both teams have a pretty comparable strength of schedule, comparable wins against top-ranked teams, they're going to be, Alabama has Colin Sexton. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, your guy, Trae Young, they lost 14 out of the last 18 games.
I have Trae Young out.
They shouldn't even been in.
They got in because of Trae Young.
And then Oklahoma State doesn't get it.
St. Mary's is 28-5.
I mean,
Notre Dame.
I'm so sick of Trae Young. They're putting ramming Trae Young into all of our faces. They're trying to make him the next Steph Curry.
He's going to be out the first round.
He's going to be out in the first round.
He might be out in the first round.
I agree with Shea.
Did you see Dick Vitale about Oklahoma State? He's like, how does Oklahoma get in?
So they're wrong in that
stop. So I feel bad that Sexton and Alabama.
Why wasn't Markelle Fultz in last year, though?
Because Washington had a losing record. They were actually terrible. They were actually awful.
About Bonzi and Notre Dame,
they should have been in for sure. I mean, I root for those teams being in over. I mean, I like watching Trae Young, but I would rather have Notre Dame in because they're more deserving.
That's a beautiful game. URI in Oklahoma, though. That's a nice game too. That's another game. You're going to love the pace of that game. Plays right into Trae Young.
I have Villanova making it to my Final Four, but I would love if Alabama Alabama beat Villanova. And I would absolutely say, I said it before, I would have them
It sucks
winning.
that this region just feels like a lock.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I would
not
have them
fun.
beating. I would have them beating
But the
Kansas. I would have them
tournament
beating
is
Xavier.
famous for
Upsets.
things
Upsets.
happening.
That's where the upsets
Logan,
are
all
going.
upsets.
Upsets.
We're saying it's
Grandma
cut and dry.
McKee becomes the pundit that predicts it all. I got again Villanova's fitting with my theme. I think they're a clean team too.
What team do you think is going to be surprising besides Villanova? Who do you
I
have
really,
playing in the Elite Eight?
I'm saying St. Bonaventure and Butler.
So you're having St. Bonaventure is beating Texas
I
Tech
think
and Florida.
I think St. Bonaventure is going to beat Florida.
Keep
And that's a
dreaming.
nice game.
I think UCLA
The
beats
team
St.
that has
Bonaventure.
a gymnasium that fits 45 people. St. Bonnie. I was watching them. It
Bob
looked like
Lanier played
DYAA.
there. Bob Lanier played there when I was in. And
Shout out DYAA.
Jalen Adams missed the first 14 games of the season.
Jalen-
What's his name? Isn't it? It's Jalen Adams.
Yeah,
He's a point guard.
Yeah, but what
he's a guy.
about the other Jalen? Jalen Hands on UCLA.
I don't know that. I don't know
Best pass of the college basketball season.
that. Okay.
In
nice.
between the legs, alley-oop from half court.
Oh, I like that. That's well described, Sean.
It's the
In
best
between the
best
legs,
pass
alley-oop
of the
from
college.
half court.
Yeah, and he's like wicked lanky and athletic. It looked awesome.
Nova, cakewalk.
Yes, I think so too.
Upsets. Murray State. Upsets.
Murray State.
I hope so.
All right, the Midwest, just like we wanted to. We got the
I'm glad we're
Kansas's
there. I'm glad we're
region,
at
the
the
weakest #1 seed, so they get the strongest 2 and the 3. Another situation where the selection committee really frustrates me because they put Michigan State and Duke, pin them against each other in Sweet 16. They did this last year with Kentucky and UCLA.
Yep.
I wish that these teams got a different rap because I think both of these teams have Final Four potential. I think that it's going to be a toss-up. Whoever plays the better game is going to win, obviously. The 4 and 5 seed, we got Auburn and Clemson. It's kind of weak. But
Clemson kind of gets screwed there. They
Yeah.
went 23-9 and they finished off pretty strong. And then they only got a 5 seed.
Yeah, but they
They're
lost their best
third in
player.
the ACC.
They lost their best player.
they lost their best player.
And they lost them. They played some good games since, but he was clearly their best player.
Right, so it's interesting. I think that's going to be a popular 5-12 upset pick. If you look at the teams and everyone says the 5-12 is a good upset
Mexico
choice to pick.
They're traveling all the way to San Diego to play New Mexico. I mean,
Well,
this is
it's-
crazy.
In the East,
to speak on what I said before, the reason that 5-12 is often regarded as a better upset selection than 6-11 is similar to what I said earlier, because 12 is often a very hot team that probably just won their conference, and 5, except in certain cases like Kentucky won, is often a former highly regarded team that is struggling. Maybe they have an injury and maybe they've fallen down. So you're pairing a hot team with a weak team, and that's why they're good selections to make. Where on the other side, the 6 and 11 is, it's a team that's really picked it up and rose to the 6, and the 11 is like, we can let them in. So I think
that 5-12 is going to be a good game.
I got New Mexico State in that game. I think that's one of my 12 upsets.
I think that's a good
like
upset
them over
pick.
them.
I think bad for Clemson.
I think that Auburn is going to really test Kansas if they can get to that game. I like Auburn's play style. I don't trust Kansas. I think that Devontae Graham is a good player, but I don't know if he has enough star power to carry them deep into the
They've got
tournament.
very good guard play.
Yes, they do.
I think
And
Kansas
they can really hit
cruises
the
to the
three.
Elite
They
Eight.
can really drill threes, Kansas, and guard play plays out a lot of times.
Yeah, I
in the
think
tournament.
Kansas got an
So
easy.
does
easy
everyone have
road.
either Duke or Michigan State coming out of this conference?
I think
No,
Duke's
I
the easy
don't.
win.
I don't.
Who do you have?
Well, I've got a theme. Again, my theme is I want clean teams. So I'm not, Michigan State to me is not a clean team. They've got more going on. My God, they've got it from both sides. They've got the Me Too scandal coming at them, and they've got the FBI probe coming at them. So I'm not going to go with them. Okay. I'm going to take URI, even though I know they can't win. I'm taking them because they're a relatively clean team. So I'm going to pick them. I know they got a tremendous road
They
ahead
got a
of
bad
them.
path. They got a real bad
I'll
path.
tell you what, I watched a lot of Duke this weekend. Again, I love Bagley, and I love their other bigs. So they're really a good. They got probably 5 first-round picks right out of that team there.
Bobby Hurley
But
versus
their problem-
Dan Hurley would be cool.
And I got a nickname for him, and it's Disgraceful Allen. And that was. Did you see the play?
Yep.
It's awful. I mean, he's there, and he's there, top of the key, and it's in transition, and there's a guy just coming down and back of him, and he gives him, I don't know what to call it. It's like a thrust of his butt that knocks the guy over. And it's just blatantly.
Is this recent? I haven't seen this one.
It was bad, so they got called. And I'm thinking.
That's what he is. He's an
He is,
antagonizer.
and you know,
He's a
I'm trying to-
scumbag.
He's disgraceful.
my word
Allen.
for him.
So he's the senior, and he's supposed to be the glue, and he's supposed to be the leader. I think that's their downfall.
I don't think he's supposed to be the glue. I think he's supposed to be the heart.
He's supposed to be the heart. He's supposed to be the leader. And it's like
I don't think he's supposed to be the leader.
He's supposed to be. He's
don't
a
think he's
senior.
supposed to
He should be, or whatever it is. I'm
think
looking
he has
at
that
whoever, somebody, his father or an AU, somewhere along the line, long time ago, got it into his head that all contact, in love and war, all's fair. You can bite them, you can trip them, you can punch them, you can do whatever you want because
You need a
these are
player
bad.
like that. You need a player like that.
You don't need a player that's dirty like that. He's not dirty like Dirty Deli.
I'm not a big,
pretty close.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Grayson Allen, but I'm a big fan of the rest of their roster. And like you just said,
Yeah.
they have probably five
Five
selections in
Yeah.
the top in the first round of the NBA
They got
draft.
the
Grayson Allen will
They
bring him
have
down.
they have the most stacked roster in the entire tournament, I believe. I think that they have one of the best cases to make it to the final game. I think that Duke Villanova Final Four matchup is going to be very compelling.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Villanova's front court is going to be able to handle Wendell Carter and Bagley. I don't know if they're going to be overcome it, which is why I have Duke making it to the finals. This conference, besides that region down there where it's Michigan State and Duke, I'm pretty underwhelmed by the top. I think that those aren't really going to be super exciting. Besides that,
Bagley-
Clemson, New Mexico State. I'm
Bagley's
excited for
giving
that.
me
That's
like
an
glimpses
exciting
of Durant.
Yeah, me and Logan talk about that.
I think it might be Kansas, Michigan
At
State.
6'11".
I don't trust Duke this year.
I think this
I
is
love
another
Michigan
stack.
State.
This
I
is
love
another
Michigan
stacked
Well, what we said a long time
division.
ago when we first started to talk on college is that over the last 5 years, it's not the one and dones that have been winning these things. It's been North Carolina with a senior team, Villanova with a senior team. It's been and also there has
I
not
like
been a
that.
first-time winner since 2006 in Florida. That's why I'm going to hang my head on Go Who's, and they'd be the well. They've
never even made the Final Four.
In the decade before 2006, there were 5 first-time winners. There hasn't been one since Florida be a first-time winner.
I think trends are in the sense of NCAA tournament trends are misleading, and you shouldn't look too much
They're
into
meant to
them.
be broken in the big dance.
I think
I'd love
Duke's
to see
easy
first-time
win,
winner.
but I'm disappointed about URI. I really wanted to root for URI. How
Yeah.
could they not get a 6 seed? How could they not? Like that would change the whole outlook.
Because
They didn't win.
lost.
not-
If they won that, they would have got a 6.
They're not big
They
enough.
lost to
They-
A-10.
They are small, and again, the 6 best players are guards, and they play one guy in the middle. How
Right,
are they
so
going to
it's
play Duke?
exciting.
How
It's
are they going to play Duke? Who's going to
They're
match
not-
up with
I mean,
Carter?
I think
they're
they're-
going to have
They're going to foul everybody.
I think-
they're going to have
I think they're-
Stanford Robinson is going to be playing Carter.
I think they're going to walk
That is-
Oklahoma. I think they're going to lock
Stanford
down Trey Young.
Stanford
Oh, yeah,
Robinson at
that's a good matchup for
6'3"
them.
is going to be playing Carter.
Trey Young is going to get clamped down. This is a great matchup
No,
for you.
it's a great game for Trey Young. It's a great game
it's
for
a
Trey
fast-
Young.
it's a fast pace,
Open
but-
floor.
yeah.
I don't think Doughton at 6'5" can play Trey Young. I think it's Garrett off the bench, maybe Fats off the bench. Those guys can play him in a way. I don't think I put Terrell on him.
They could. I
He's
wouldn't.
not
I wouldn't.
quick. I think Trey Young. I think this is a great game for Trey Young.
they
A
wouldn't
great
want- they
showcase
wouldn't want to
game
get
for Trey
Terrell
Young.
in foul
Trey
trouble.
Young goes for 40.
40. You're predicting 40 and a loss.
Why not?
40 and out. 40 and out.
Could be 40
I'm in.
and
That
out.
sounds awesome. I want a 40 and out. That's what I
This team's going to play 90. You're going to see 90 points. in this
90
game.
points.
just happened?
Your eyes getting
gonna be
90,
fun.
95 to 90. Rhode Island, Oklahoma.
right.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
But
It'd
yeah,
be fun.
I agree. They're going to
URI
struggle with
could have
Duke.
put up.
I
What
mean,
did they put up? 57 against Davidson.
well,
I don't see that.
well, I mean,
Yeah, but
Oklahoma's
that's the pace of that
defense is
game.
worse than
Davidson's
Davidson.
dictating
That's
pace.
true,
Davidson's
that's true,
dictating
but-
pace when they play.
If URI got a roll with
The game
Cincinnati,
before
North
that, they played the
Carolina,
Lions.
or Purdue instead, I think they could have taken any of those teams. To be honest, and I would have. I probably would have
I'm
picked
not
them.
high on Rhode Island's chances.
No, I don't think that
They didn't
they
play
got-
well
they got-
down the stretch.
They lost to St. Bonnie. They would have had a 6 seed if they beat St. Bonnie and then they won against Davidson in the championship.
I don't know. St. Joseph was up by 40 on them on senior night. St. Joseph's was up by 40.
Yeah,
at
well,
Junior
like I said,
on senior
like
night.
when we talked about that, I think they were doing nips before that game. I think they
whatever
were
they want.
somebody was slipping
Whatever they
something.
want. It should be
Whatever gets them ready
interesting.
for game
Final thing, I got Arizona State upsetting TCU. The Horned Frogs going down for a time.
Oh,
I
okay.
like TCU is one of the football teams. The whole message. You got Alabama, you got Clemson, you got Ohio State. TCU is one of the football teams that got in there.
They're out.
I like Jamie Dixon.
Nah.
Jamie Dixon's a real good coach. He took Pittsburgh where they went. This is only his second year at TCU.
Yeah, I'm
doing
pretty,
a good
I'm
job
pretty,
there.
I'm pretty underwhelmed.
I am too.
I think, yeah, I guess we can spin it. Unless it lands on the Blazers, we'll just, yeah, good job. All right, let's just go
Good
right
spin,
to the list.
huh?
Great spin, great spin. All right, Xavier's region, they're 2 through
weakest number
whatever.
1 seed.
Yes, well, I think
And
I think Xavier's better than Kansas, but they're
I
close.
don't.
They're close.
I
They're
don't.
close. We got North Carolina as a 2, Michigan as a 3. They got Gonzaga, Ohio State, probably the weakest 4-5 combination. Houston's a hot team that people like. I'm not sure that.
Did you just say the weakest? That's the weakest 4-5 combination.
Gonzaga is awesome.
I think that's the weakest 4 or 5
have a good
combination.
Gonzaga is a good team.
I think that
finals last year.
I think
they got 4 guys back from that team. I know they lost some players, but they got 4 guys back from that
I
team.
have them in the Final Four.
I think West Virginia is better than them.
And they're a clean
I think
team.
Auburn and Clemson
They
is
fit my
better than
team.
them, and
They're
obviously
clean.
Kentucky and Arizona is better than them. So I mean, I don't think Ohio State's good.
You say this
They're
is the
not a football
weakest.
team.
You say this is the weakest 4 or 5. I think this is the weakest 1-2.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
UNC.
I agree.
Shea doesn't like North Carolina. I saw him play.
I think Gonzaga has a chance
I
to
like
get out
this
of this
slow white
region.
guy.
I think I might pick Gonzaga
Logan, you
too.
gotta like May. How can you not? He's a walk-on.
Why would we like him? He's ugly to watch.
Because he's a walk-on. I mean, come on. He won
I
the
am a
national
fan of that.
championship as a walk-on.
But I don't believe him playing against people like
Very
Ayton if
quick
he's a
release.
walk-on.
Got a very quick release, and he can make shots
It's
because of that
just-
quick release. And he never stops working. He's got an incredible bowler, so he's working all the time. And if he catches you not working, he's got an advantage.
I
on
think
you all the time.
if Providence can
worker.
beat Texas A&M, I
Providence
think
is not going to win again.
I don't think they are. But if Providence can beat them, North Carolina will beat Providence. But I think if Texas A&M wins, I think they have a very good chance
can give
against
them
North
trouble.
Carolina. I think that Robert Williams and the other big from Texas A&M are going to give the front court in North Carolina some trouble. I like their defensive guards to be able to handle Joel Berry. I'm not that scared of them. And I also have Missouri upsetting Xavier. I think Michael Porter is going to be a huge factor. I think he's very interesting.
I think Xavier goes down in the first round and becomes the first
round. You have first round exit.
You gotta have a 16.
I'm in.
You gotta have a 16. That's
crazy.
Going to someday.
It's funny. Last week you were saying they could make some noise. You did about Xavier.
No, I didn't say Xavier can make noise.
Yeah,
I
you did. You said
Bonaventure.
No, you said Xavier can make some noise. But I agree.
I don't remember
I
that.
think
But
they're a
anyway.
weak team. I think Missouri's got wins against Arkansas, against Tennessee, against Alabama, against Kentucky, against A&M. I think that they're a strong team, and all of those wins came without a top 3 pick potentially in the NBA draft. And he came back and he had a pretty iffy showing, but he was playing Michael Porter Jr. in his one game. He didn't play many minutes, and it was a very disjointed flow, and you could tell he wasn't giving like everything he could have. You could tell he was a little timid, but he was healthy.
He's a 6'10", and he's a lottery pick, and he's going to. I mean, this is a factor. I think this team. You don't know how fast he's going to fit into the chemistry, but. I don't think it's like the NBA where you got to work. I think this guy's so much better than anybody else. And his brother is one of the
His
starters.
brother's good. I mean, his brother's already built a reputation where he went from a no-name brother of Michael Porter Jr. to Jonte Porter, a likely first-round pick in the NBA draft. He's younger than Michael, his older brother. I think they take down Xavier. I think that if Gonzaga makes it to the next round, I think they take down Gonzaga. I think they'll probably struggle in the Elite Eight versus either Texas A&M, Michigan, maybe if North Carolina makes it there.
How Porter plays, and whether he's even capable of playing 30 minutes.
I'm excited for this team, and I think that this team has the ability to go far.
Player to watch. If you haven't seen a lot of him, is Alpha Diallo out of Providence. He's a really good player. He's another DeRozan type guy.
Wait, is he the lefty?
No, he's a righty. Right. But watch him. He's got a game. Yeah. He's got a real good game.
Providence, Providence got a lot of
hoopla
about beating Xavier, but Xavier's bad. So I don't know if I give a lot of credit.
They're not bad. They're just not a great.
They're like a 5 seed.
Coaching
they might be the worst number 1 seed in the past 10 years.
Match up the coaching resumes of the 4th number 1 seeds. And
if a 16 beats a 1 and you call it, you're getting this forever.
It could be exciting. So overall,
Gonzaga's played Ohio State before, and
I'm glad we spent so much time on college.
Oh yeah, I mean I have Ohio State losing in the first round. I have South Dakota State beating Ohio State.
You get a lot of 12-5 upsets.
I don't like Ohio State. They got this guy Jop who came in and is now an NBA prospect. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't. I don't really like what they have with him. I'm not really confident in the rest of their roster. Their coaching is different starting last year, right? They got a new coach last year.
Because they had Thad.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know if I trust anything they're doing. They seem pretty disjointed. So I'm in for the upset there. I don't trust Gonzaga. They'll probably win the first game, but I think that Missouri can handle them.
That's my team.
St. Mary's beat Gonzaga, and they didn't get in the tournament. They're 28-5, and they got a big.
Right. I mean, we'll see. I like Michigan.
Gonzaga over Michigan.
I'm excited.
I like
hope
Michigan
next week
coming
we're
out of
sitting
this.
here and we're looking at a Virginia-Arizona game. That would be awesome, huh?
Yeah, that'll be good.
Cool. I hope Virginia can win the 2 games. games. I'm always.
I wouldn't want to
always
see
sweating them.
you watching that game. You'd be stressing out.
Which one?
What, Virginia?
Nah, they
Arizona?
played better.
The elite.
They played
so- freaking out.
They played better teams in Arizona.
So next
You'd be whipping
week,
out the orange pants.
next week we'll be looking forward to the Sweet 16. And if Arizona takes Virginia down when we go to New Hampshire, we won't have to watch Virginia. So that's what
You
we're
guys
rooting
are
for.
missing so much.
No, we're
I'm
not.
telling you.
Yeah, I'm
It's
telling you.
basketball Nirvana.
No, basketball Nirvana is watching the
no.
future #1 pick in the NBA
No.
draft go as far as he possibly can.
No,
in the
it's
tournament.
not.
Yes, it is. It's not watching a boring defensive
Watching
team.
the #1 pick go as far as the draft, that's basketball Nirvana. Not watching a team.
Yes.
I don't agree. I don't know, but you guys should buy in on that. What's better, watching
And that's
a team?
why most of the time we have
being
more
invested
blue
in a team that
segments.
you're following.
I'd rather watch a piece of a team that matters.
This
Virginia's
could be a
team doesn't
legendary
matter.
NBA player that you're going to
They've
look
got five
back.
NBA
You're going to
teams
look back on
they got
his
five
career.
NBA players on Virginia's team.
You get 5 tertiary bench players. Like I just don't.
Well, Malcolm Brogdon was Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's not a tertiary
illegitimate,
bench player.
illegitimate,
These guys are as good
illegitimate,
as him.
illegitimate. Yeah, they're good as Malcolm Brogdon. Who cares? Malcolm Brogdon is a. If you're trying,
DeAndre Hunter is a player.
is he going to be better than Malcolm Brogdon?
Yes.
Ugh, okay, but
Yes.
none of them have even close to the ceiling of DeAndre
Kyle
Ayton.
Guy is as good a shooter as I've seen since Rick Mount. And you guys have no idea who Rick Mount is.
Yeah, that's not impressive to me. You're saying names I don't
Well,
know.
that's because he's a long time ago, but he's one of the great shooters on
What was his
Indiana in
nickname?
history.
Kyle Guy isn't as good as a shooter as Malik Monk was
Mountain
last
Man.
year on the
Kyle
Kentucky.
Guy's a better shooter than Malik Monk.
No,
he's
he's
got a
not.
much quicker release.
No,
Watch
I'm
him-
quicker release than Malik Monk. Malik Monk has one of the quicker
watch
releases in
Kyle
college
Guy
history.
coming off screens.
I've seen
He's
him.
ready to shoot
I've seen
before
him.
he catches the
I've
ball.
seen
He's
him.
ready to shoot.
All right, we're gonna go to do some medals. We didn't have a chance to talk
I'm glad
about.
we did a lot of them.
Didn't have a chance to talk about the Blazers.
Whoos.
Shout out Dame Dalla, got an MVP candidacy, maybe in the 4th or 5th spot.
Oh, yeah.
running. All right, so started off. Tie it all
DeMar DeRozan
together.
in that, too.
Miami at Portland
Portland.
tonight. I picked Portland.
Portland.
Portland's
Sure.
so
Can you just
streaking.
tell me
I'll
when
take Portland.
What games are tank games? So like,
I can
Oh,
tell you. You'll know.
jeez.
I'll
just
let
so
you
I
know.
can-
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Indiana at Philly tomorrow.
Philly.
Really?
Philly. Sloan picked Philly.
I'll take Philly.
Logan picked Philly. Minnesota at Washington. Minnesota had a good win without Jimmy Butler at Golden State.
I will
Washington.
always go Washington in that one. Jimmy Butler, we miss you.
Has
I'll
Rose
take
played that?
Minnesota. Take Minnesota.
I picked Minnesota.
I don't
see
think,
Rose
I don't
play.
think
That's a
Rose is
tough
going to
pick.
play much.
It could really be sad if they fall out of the playoffs, which isn't unreasonable.
That's so bunched up.
Okay, here's a
Sorry.
tanking game for you. Double tank game.
Double
tank.
Dallas at New York. Knicks.
Give me New York.
I also picked New York.
The Knicks. But the Knicks are they're nowhere near the bottom.
But they would like to be.
They would like to.
I'll take Dallas.
Dallas.
Well, who would be great on the
Wesley
Knicks?
Matthews called out for the rest
Isaiah.
of the season.
Isaiah Thomas and the New York Knicks.
Well, I could
He's
see
a-
that.
he's a
I
bargain.
could see
Yeah,
that.
I think they'd enjoy him.
Detroit at Utah.
Utah. Detroit's going nowhere fast.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
I'll take Detroit.
Utah's the reason I won this.
Yes, they are.
Well, you and I were tied, I think, last night, and then Utah won. So I
No,
stick with
that
Utah.
wasn't it. It was the game before
I
that. We
haven't
both
got a
picked
victory
Utah.
in a
Is
long
Utah in the
time.
playoffs?
I'm hanging
I
on
don't
by
want
a
you
thread.
in the
They're
playoffs.
like a 9 seed. Washington at Boston. They have the chance to get into the playoffs.
Celtics. I'm staying with them. I'm staying with the Celtics. I'm staying with Brad.
Brad, trust Brad.
With all the injuries,
We're
I
gonna
have
see
to go
him,
Washington.
You're gonna see Gershon
Celtics.
Yabusele.
Go Celtics.
Yabu. Hopefully we see Yabu. Toronto at Indiana.
I pick it with my head, not with my
Indiana.
heart.
I like Indiana less. I like it. I like what's
Who is
happening. with them.
Indiana
Miles
playing?
Turner hitting
Toronto
threes.
Raptors.
Toronto.
Miles Turner's great.
Hitting threes.
Lance Stevenson playing some really fun ball.
I'll go Indiana.
I go Toronto there.
Okay.
How about CJ Miles? That guy can shoot.
Yeah, he can shoot, but he also can go over 14 through 3 games.
Yeah, streaky.
Kind of your stock response to that.
Well, it's just like, do you want to depend on a streaky shooter as your only shooter off
He's
the bench
pretty
in the
clutch.
playoffs? I
He's
don't
pretty
know.
clutch.
He's
That
gonna.
is just tough.
I'm not gonna know who that guy is in the playoffs. I don't
Pelicans
even know who he
at,
is.
Pelicans at San Antonio Spurs. This is a Thursday game. This is the game that Kawhi Leonard is targeting to come back.
For the 5th time this year?
I think it's
He's
the
had a lot of
I
targets.
think it's the second.
I'll go
I'll
Pelicans.
go with San Antonio. I think they're a sleeper on the whole thing.
They
I
might-
think they're asleep.
Spurs. I got the Spurs. Yeah. It's,
Okay.
Detroit at Denver.
Mile high.
Denver.
Did you see Jokic's triple drop step 360 pass?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
even-
know stats.
He was just getting dizzy. He
Yeah.
just kept
He
pivoting.
spun like 9 times,
He
and
just
the
kept
guy,
pivoting.
Willie
The defense
Cauley-Stein,
didn't know what to do.
Cauley-Stein had no clue what to do.
Denver it is.
Yeah, I got Denver.
Cleveland at Portland.
Portland's winning strong.
They're 8 straight games for Portland, I believe. They're the current 3
That's
seed.
the end of the week. I'll take Cavs.
I think I'll go Cleveland as well. I think that's a streak breaker.
The Clippers at OKC.
OKC, fun game.
Cosmelo was a real chump this week. Did you see when Harden took him and schooled him, and
Yeah.
he turned around to Adams and went, "Where the F is my help?"
Yeah.
That's what Carmelo did to Adams. Where the F is my help? He got schooled and
Steven
beat,
Adams should-
embarrassed. Harden took him right to the hoop.
Steven Adams should know that he's going to get
But,
torched
is it
and he needs to
OKC?
help him.
I'll take OKC.
Clippers at OKC.
I'll take OKC.
I think we got 1 minute left.
Yeah, that's fine. Miami at the Lakers.
Lakers are playing nice.
Miami.
I'm enjoying watching them play again.
Me
Lakers.
too. I agree. You picking them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I like ours. It's
Miami, please.
nice combination ball.
Indiana at Washington.
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 Yeah, Washington.
All right, that's all the time we have today. Enjoy the tournament. Adios.